And so when I started my coaching business, it was because of personal experience of having the life where you tick all the boxes, you do all the things that you're supposed to do, you have all the things you're supposed to have to be happy. And then you find out that you can still have all those things and feel unfulfilled.
Right.
And that was a very scary place for me because I thought, well, I don't, and now I don't know what to do. And so I went on a personal growth journey at that point to, and so it was really a journey of self-discovery to kind of connect with what brings me joy, what fills me up, reevaluate my priorities, things like that.
Buckle up for a new episode of the S.H.E podcast, the show where we have real and raw conversations to inspire and empower you to be seen and heard so you can create balance and everything you want in your life and business. I'm your host, Heidi Schock, and I'm excited to walk alongside of you on this journey of being seen, heard, and empowered. Welcome to the S.H.E podcast. Be seen, be heard, be empowered. And when we're recording this, we're coming off of a holiday weekend. So I'm really excited to be chatting with my guest today because we're both moms. We're both business owners. So I know this is going to be a super fun conversation. And her energy is just off the chart. When I met her a few months ago, we talked and I couldn't wait to have her on. And it's finally happening. So I'm just going to stop talking now and welcome you, Jenny. So welcome Jenny Hubbard to the podcast. I'm so excited to chat with you.
Oh, Heidi, thank you so much. I've been looking forward to this so much. I too loved when we chatted, and your business and your podcast are aligned with so many of the things that I'm really passionate about. And so I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you for spending your time with us today. So before Jenny, we dive in, I'm just going to give everybody a little background about you and then
Please.
we'll kick off the conversation. So Jenny Hubbard is the founder of Realization Coaching and a certified practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. Jenny has been transforming lives and relationships for nearly 15 years through her personal and executive coaching, online courses, live events, and television appearances. She specializes in helping high achievers master the skills needed for deep intimacy and connection in both personal and business relationships. So Jenny, with what you're doing now, NLP, your coaching and helping the people that you help, is this something that you began because you navigated this through your own journey, or is this something that you just knew years ago that you wanted to learn this, dive in, and help people in this way?
Oh, no, this was definitely through my own journey. I just always, even as a high school student, was really fascinated with personal growth. I was reading self-help books in high school. It's just been an area and a passion my whole life. It definitely was not a plan career-wise. That kind of happened by accident. But through the various careers I had, the one common thread was really connected to helping people. I've just always wanted to help people. And so when I started my coaching business, it was because of personal experience of having the life where you tick all the boxes, you do all the things that you're supposed to do, you have all the things you're supposed to have to be happy. And then you find out that you can still have all those things and feel unfulfilled. And that was a very scary place for me because I thought, well, I don't, this is my plan. This is what I'm supposed to do to be happy. And now I've done everything and I don't feel the way I thought I was going to feel. And now I don't know what to do. And so I went on a personal growth journey at that point to, had been married for a period of time at that time. I had small kids. I was working full time and I kind of lost myself in that process. And so it was really a journey of self-discovery to kind of connect with what brings me joy, what fills me up, reevaluate my priorities, things like that. And that process was life altering for me. And it was how I ended up starting doing coaching full time. And then cut to, that's where I thought my journey was going to end. And that's not where it ended. It turns out I had way more experiences ahead of me, which included caretaking my parents, losing both my parents, going through a high conflict divorce, and a very condensed period of time. So essentially, that beautiful life I built through the first journey imploded. And so I had to make a new one. And that process, if I hadn't done the original process, I don't know how I would have gotten through the 2.0. So now where I'm focused in my coaching business is that having the skills to one, to navigate the challenges that life throws at you and to still have joy and love and positive things happening in your life in the midst of really painful, big, heavy, scary things, which I think the older we get, the bigger, the heavier, and the scarier the things get. And then the other is I'm very passionate about relationships because I've been on both sides of relationships. I've been in a relationship that was lonely and unfulfilling, and I'm now in a relationship that is everything I thought a relationship was supposed to be and had never experienced. Just and it's brought so much joy and love to my life that it makes those challenges so much easier to manage. And so those are the things I like sharing with people is when you feel good within yourself, and then when your relationships are the highest quality they can possibly be, whether it's personal, romantic, business, then those challenges in life are so much easier to navigate. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? That was probably a long-winded answer.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And you said a lot there that pull my takeaways out of it. And for those of you listening, we'd love to hear your takeaways. So if you're watching us on YouTube, please drop them in the comments. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform and you can leave a review, drop them in there and let us know. Or we're going to give you all of Jenny's contact information. Send her a message on social because this conversation is going to be so good for so many of you women listening. For all of you listening, I know you're going to pull away different things. So what I pulled away is I learned this phrase from some of my mentors, or the saying, and his name is going to escape me right now in the moment, but he was the head of Apple for
Mm-hmm.
years. And he was like, we can't connect the dots looking forward. We can only connect the dots looking backwards.
Yes.
Let's trust that the dots will connect at some point in our future. And I love that because I think when you're in it, and you were in it, right? You were in the stuff. We may think, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening? I thought I had checked all the boxes. I did what I was supposed to, quote unquote, do. How did this fall apart? Or how am I feeling so unfulfilled when I thought this was where I was supposed to be to make me happy? Right.
That's right.
And then also the other thing is one of the big things is just knowing that when you break down and break through, that was the other thing.
Yes. Yes.
Break through, we must break down, and we don't, and
That's
it
right.
doesn't feel good when we're in it, going through it, and we can sit in it and go, why? We don't see the light on the other side of it.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to get that breakthrough, like you mentioned, your 2.0 version Jenny 2.0, you can't get to Jenny 2.0 without some sort of breakdown. And sometimes the breakdowns are harder than other breakdowns, but it allows us to grow, which is what you did. So I'm curious, when this was all happening, looking back now, did you see signs that this was coming now that you're on the other side of it? Or was it just something that it just kind of hit you?
That's a great question because I would probably say both. Ironically, in my first marriage, I was aware of the fact that things weren't working and that this was not going the way that we had hoped. Absolutely. But it's interesting because when you're in it, right? So we were married for nearly 20 years. So, and you're like, well, you don't get everything, right? Marriage is hard. Marriage is compromise. And so you might be feeling like this doesn't feel right. This isn't working for me, especially when you're putting in the work and it's still not working. Okay. And then you talk to people, oh, marriage is hard. Well, it's compromise. It turns out it's not that hard. Sometimes it's just really that's not they don't understand when you're saying it's hard. Your version of hard is different than other people's hard, right? Their hard is like, oh, well, he doesn't like Chinese food and that's my favorite, or whatever. This is like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. So there were definitely signs in that regard. But the timing of everything, it all just happened so fast. And so it felt out of nowhere, right? My dad was dying of cancer. I'm taking care of my dad. My mom had dementia. I was taking care of her. I've got two kids. At that time, I had two children. I have a business. You're just trying to keep it going.
Yeah.
And when my dad passed, I'd never experienced grief like that before. And the timing of, oh, and now my marriage is ending. Okay. Which I did not see. So I see it coming like globally? Yes, probably. But I didn't see it coming the day it happened, the month it happened. And when you're like, okay, guess we're going to do this now on top of everything else. But the one thing I would say, which I know you can relate to, Heidi, is that when things are happening in your life, they're so big and it's so out of your control. There's that piece within you, if you have been doing growth work and you have built some emotional skill set, that you think, okay, I can either cling to what was. I can fight to try to hold on and stop the breakdown and keep the status quo. Or I can trust. To me, this is the core of faith. Whatever your version of faith is, the faith is that moment that you're like, okay, I don't know why this is happening. This is not what I would be choosing to be happening, but it is happening. So I'm going to trust that this is happening for my benefit in some way, even if I can't see it, because it doesn't feel like it's happening for my benefit. It feels like a disaster.
Right.
So I kind of imagine it like you're in the rapids. You kind of just surrender to the rapids and just trust that it's going to dump you somewhere safe. Okay? And all you can do is go with it and try to keep your head above water until you get to where you're dumped, right?
Right.
And so that was helpful as someone that prefers control over things and people and situations. That was a lesson I obviously needed to learn. And it did dump me out in a place that is a life that I couldn't have. Now I have 4 children. I have an amazing relationship, and I did get to the other side of all of that. And I think if anyone who's ever been through a really high conflict divorce, they're soul crushing. Okay. And so another area that I'm very passionate about is people that have either, it doesn't have to be divorce, it could be a high conflict breakup, it doesn't have to be legal. But when you go through an experience like that, it really kind of challenges your faith again of what's possible with love, what's possible with relationships, what's possible for me. And to have the experience on the other side of that, to have such a fulfilling, wonderful relationship, it's like I want that for everybody. And I want people to have hope that no matter how bad your relationship experience was, or no matter how bad your breakup experience was, that there is wonderful love on the other side of that. And it's worth fighting for and pursuing.
Yeah.
As opposed to, okay, I got through that and now I'm going to just play it safe from now on because I don't want to go through that again. So getting people to have the courage and the willingness to fight for that great love story that's ahead of you is really important.
Yeah. And I'm on that journey now for finding
Good.
a person, and I'm excited about it. The word that came to me when you were talking about this is surrender. And literally
Yes.
last night, Jenny, literally last night, I'm reading Jamie Kern Lima's book, I Believe It. And I got it years ago and I just never I picked it up and read it and then I never finished got far into it. So I picked it up and she brought up surrendering when she was literally creating that makeup line, and she's sitting outside of QVC, and 10 minutes is going to make or break her life because they're about to go bankrupt. She's put everything into this business and nobody's taking the makeup line. They don't believe in her. QVC after years finally gives her a shot. She's got 10 minutes. So she has a decision to make. Am I going to stand for what I believe in and how I should show up on the screen, or am I going to go with what they want me to do? And she stood
Right.
what her beliefs were, and she thought of what Oprah had shared, which is what you had shared, surrendering when she wanted the color purple so bad, and she just surrendered and said, and she's talked to God, and not everybody talks to God. So whoever you talk to, I was just like, I just get to surrender. If this is where I'm supposed to be, then this is where I'm supposed to be. I gotta let go, like you said, the control. Because when we're hard knuckling everything,
Yes.
we're not allowing anything in. Our hands aren't open to receive, right? So I love everything that you just shared because that reminded me. I'm like, I just read this last night. It's so perfect timing. And then with the Oprah thing, she read, and I'm like, I remember when Oprah shared that about her wanting to have that movie role, and then she got the call a few days later, and it was just
Once she let it go.
once she let it go and released it and goes, I let go of control. And like you said, we can fight for something, so like tooth and nail, hard knuckle something, because it's comfortable, even though it's miserable. We're
right. That's exactly right.
Right? We're comfortable. It's what we know. And we're like, okay, well, if I don't do this anymore, I'm going to feel lost. What do I do then? This is my routine every single day. I may hate it. I may not love it.
Right.
But the other side of it is so scary. How am I going to get there? Am I going to be alone? I'd rather be miserable than alone. Some people feel
right.
And so you and your journey and stepping through it. So I just want to say thank you for sharing all that, because I know I had to hear it again. And I know there's women listening that need to hear it again. Thank you for being so open and vulnerable with your journey and your story, and taking that walk and taking that leap of faith. So you're here to share with us that you did it. And then there's magic on the other side of it. You're now happily married. You have 2 bonus children, right?
Right.
You're building a beautiful family. And back when you're in it, you would have never, this wasn't even a thought that could possibly,
not even a thought.
possibly Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and I'd love to add to that too, because this is something else I think that happens when you're looking at, okay, what do I want for this relationship, right? If I'm here, I am, you know who you are. I call it, it's like the moment you graduate from college, that's what I think midlife is. It's like you're graduating from college, except you have wisdom and a bank account. Okay, so anything's possible for you. This is the season of the second act. Okay, because we're living to roughly 100 years for most people. So if you're near 50, you have a whole second half of your life. What are you going to do? How do you want that to be? How do you want to feel in your life? And the if I could impart one piece of wisdom to everybody listening on this note of, okay, particularly with romantic relationships, right? What do I want? I would encourage everybody to be as open-minded as possible. As I said, I'm a person that I'm a control-oriented person. I'm a high-strung person. I really believe in creating. And I remember Tony Robbins saying, he's like, what do? You change your approach. If it's not working, you keep trying, you change your approach, you keep trying, right? So achievement-oriented people, we just keep trying to force it, push, break through. And that's where the surrender part comes in, because it's so counterintuitive to to let go instead of try to control and push. And when it comes to looking for a new relationship, it comes in the most unexpected packages if you're open to it. And my husband and I talk about that all the time, of how, because we both kind of went through a scorched earth situation, we really didn't have expectations the way we did the first time. First time, you've got your checklist, right? Of and man, we nailed it. We got that checklist, and it was every ding, ding, ding. And then you're like, oh, this had all the right things, but it doesn't feel the way I want to feel. Okay. And so when you're looking now, it's like, okay, start with, how do I want to feel? Because it might come in a really unexpected package. And if you're looking for the checklist, you're going to miss the things. It's like you're looking for what you want and you're missing what you need. And
Yeah.
if you can kind of take what you want out of it and just tune into how you want to feel, then when you bump into those feelings, you're like, oh, look at that. There's a great book called How Not to Die Alone. And one of the things the author talks about is, I didn't expect my soulmate to be 5'8" and vegan, but here we are, right? Because she was tuned into the way that she wanted to feel, and she found her partner through that process. So I think that's the thing, is one, have the faith that there's great love ahead of you. Two, be really open and no expectations, because what you want and what you need it turns out is very different. What I wanted didn't work. What I needed was somebody that would have never made it through because of silly rules I had. Facial hair, car of choice, just like interest, things like that, it really has no bearing on your day to day. You can have a
Yeah.
wonderful relationship with someone who's very different than you are.
Yeah, no, this is perfect, because perfect timing for me, because I'm in the same, like, I'm starting to dip my feet in the dating pool again. And it's like, you had this vision of what they look like and what they're
Yes.
in, these boxes you want to check. And I do have a not strict vision, but I have a vision that I've had for what I want to create. And it's starting to, now I'm starting to see that that's showing up. And I'm like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh, I really could have this vision. I didn't even think I had it, but I didn't think it was possible.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not looking like the person that I thought they would look like.
Right.
And I'm like, huh. Once you kind of like let the walls down and you kind of open,
Right. Yes.
just, this is what I want for my life and for me. And I get to release about how that person shows up. I get to release what they look like or what they do
When they show up.
when they show up, and then just be open to receive it. And there's no rushing. You don't have to rush
Yeah.
into something because you may think, oh my gosh, this person's showing up. That's got to be them. No, there
Mm-hmm.
could be more. Just be open to enjoying the process. And so I think that's really amazing that you shared that. So, because I think it's so important we kind of, like you said, we're told to make lists. And
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to a dating coach recently, and there he's like, tear up the lists. Just don't
Totally.
stop
And
these.
the expectations and the judgments.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I love that you shared that book. And she's like, I didn't expect my soulmate to be this person. If she kept looking
Mm-hmm.
for somebody different, she would have missed out on him. She would have completely.
And same. I feel that every day. I think, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that whatever your belief system is, God, the universe saved me from myself. Because if we had gotten together under different circumstances, those silly judgments would have kept me from someone who has been really truly one of the best experiences in my entire life. Of just somebody that just gets you and sees you and makes you feel so safe and connected and yourself. A great relationship helps you be more of yourself, which I think is really our bigger purpose, is to be the purpose of a human lifetime, is to become the fullest expression of ourselves that we're capable of being. And when you're in a great relationship, all that does is heighten it and open you up to have more of yourself to be. And so to think that I could have missed out on this because I don't like beards or certain accent. He's from Alabama, so he has an accent, and that used to be a no for me. And now I'm thinking, oh my, can you imagine if I would have missed out on this whole life and these amazing kids and all this joy because I don't like facial hair? Or it turns out I do actually now. Okay, I've changed my mind. I love beards. That's how my head was screwed up. My head was that something like that was a reason for elimination.
Yeah.
When who cares? And so that's something when I work with singles and when I work with couples or people coming off of divorce looking for another relationship, we absolutely tear up the list, tear up your rules, tear up everything and tune in. What are you really wanting? Are you wanting a spiritual connection? Are you wanting an intellectual connection? Are you serious? Do you need someone who helps you lighten up? Or are you the lighten up and you need somebody to ground you? How important is passion? How important is family, right? So if you can get clear on those things, then you'll have who cares what size pants they wear? Who cares what color hair they have? Who cares facial hair, no facial hair, or if you're a male listener, in the reverse,
Right.
throw the type out the window. Because historically, I don't know in your experience, the types don't don't end up working out long term.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then on these sites, they have all these parameters, and we're filling these parameters.
Right.
Again, they could be outside the box. The age was a big thing for me. I had my specific age group, and
Mm-hmm.
then sometimes they fall outside that range, and so sometimes you got to just open yourself up to other possibilities. You never know. And I like that you said that you're the type of person you are, and you'll just push through, and kind of you want that control. And as soon as you said that, I just thought about this podcast because when I was starting it, I had a vision of the podcast, and we were coming up with my vision was I had to have it done by the end of the year. It was
Right.
and it was November, and I'm like, I haven't even started this thing. So I found a producer. She's like, we can get it done. She's like, these are what we need, the name, all the things. And I was like, okay, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna talk to moms. But I was
Yeah.
like, I'm not sure what I want to do, and blah blah. And then I was like, I had the amazing name, and I was like, what though? Something doesn't feel right. And I
Yeah.
finally tuned in to how I was feeling, just like you shared, tuning into how
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling. And I'll stick that square peg in a round hole and I'll make it fit. Like,
Right. Same.
we're doers, we're goers, we're doers, we're business owners. Like we lean into masculine a lot of times, or we become
Mm-hmm. Yes.
feminine. And so I was like, I'm going to push the square peg. And then I'm like, you know what? This just doesn't feel right. Something's off. So I reached out to her. I said, we're going to push this. We're not going to do this by the end of the year. I'm going to finally release this and let it go. And I said, I release it. And
Yeah.
literally on around New Year's, I woke up in a hotel room and I was like, be she, be seen, be heard, be empowered. And had I not released it, this podcast
Right.
year, and I may not even be doing a podcast because I would have been miserable doing what I thought
Right.
done just because I fit it in that parameter of I got to get it done by the end of the year because my vision board says it has to be done this year.
Right. I was going to say, because you just made up some arbitrary rule for no reason. That's a function of the ego, which is like, no, it has to be like, well, says who?
Right.
But that's such an amazing story because for you giving yourself permission to do that, which is not an easy thing, especially you've got all these people you committed to, right? So that's another danger zone where you've got other people's expectations, and my word is my bond, and I'm a person of integrity, and I can't let people disappointing people that's a fate worse than death sometimes, right? So for you to say, okay, even within all of these things that made this really difficult, I'm going to trust. This is that faith thing again, right? I'm going to tune in, I'm going to feel, and I'm going to trust that if this doesn't feel right, I have to have enough faith to recognize, and if I let this go, it's because something even better is waiting. And it was. And then look how much this podcast has impacted. Look how many people it's impacted, you and every person that comes on and every person that listens. It's exponential. So you having the courage to do that not only benefited you because it's something that you have found more enjoyable, more fulfilling, but it's exponentially benefited everyone, right? And so I think that's another key thing, which is we think we're kind of doing this for ourselves in a way. But if you look at for you, just as an individual, since you offered yourself up as an example, so if you give yourself permission to create a new, really loving, amazing, fulfilling relationship, that does benefit you. Okay. But it also benefits exponentially everyone in your orbit because the more lit up you are, the more fulfilled you are as a person, the more you bring to being a mom, being a business owner, being a coach, being a friend, being a daughter, all the things. And I'm not here to say that you can't be fulfilled in life without a relationship because that's absolutely not true. And sometimes no relationship is the best relationship. It's definitely been my experience at times in my life that that's the case. But but I do think as human beings, we're wired to share, to connect and share. It's just making sure everybody's willing to give themselves just the opportunity to have that instead of deciding whether or not it's possible. I
Yeah.
always say it's up to us to become clear on what we want, and then it's the universe's job to figure out the how.
Mm.
So just be honest with yourself. What do I want? Even if it's scary, even if I'm not sure I believe it's possible, just tell the truth to yourself that you want it. That's the biggest first step.
And along with that, I like make and go big with it. Do not
Yes,
down and go, okay, well, I'm not deserving to have all,
right,
like, I'm going to play small with what I want because this is already out of my comfort zone for me to put myself
right.
first and get clear on what
Mhm.
I want. Now I'm just going to make that tiny. So at least I'm not stepping way out of my comfort zone. And I don't believe I'm deserving of having all of that, or, because I've
Absolutely.
already been through all of this. So for those of you listening, like this is just, I love this conversation, Jenny. We're gonna have to have you back because we could talk for 2 more hours. But yeah, when you're get clear, that's a huge nugget here is get clear on what you want. That's one thing I got to do. I literally took time off. I didn't date
Hmm.
for a while and I get to just be by myself and work on me. And I hate to
Yes.
work on me, but
No,
it's good to date yourself and make yourself happy. And what do you
absolutely.
get really clear before you step into that pool again? Because like you said, there's times where no relationship is the best relationship. The best
Right.
relationship is your relationship with yourself. So when you do step back out there, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your
Hmm.
dating or creating that forever relationship, you're now more open to receiving and people are going to see you the way you really want to be seen. And you're going to get really clear on your boundaries, get really clear on what it is that you want for you in your life. And those people will just start showing up because you're super clear,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
Well, and also being patient. So when you're saying, I love what you said, and that's a really important point to highlight. When you're considering pursuing a relationship or opening yourself up to the possibility of a relationship. And P.S., this is not just for people that are single, because I work with couples all the time that they're in long-term relationships and we're considering opening ourselves up to a 2.0 of this relationship, right? Because when you've been together decades, a lot of times that connection, that intimacy, it hasn't been nurtured, right? And so a lot of times you can be in a long-term relationship that's not unhappy, but you're missing that intimacy, that closeness, that connection. Okay. So opening yourself up to a relationship to me applies whether you're single or in a committed relationship, because that's also a choice to show up every day in that scenario as well, with your heart open and vulnerable and clear on what you want, and then putting in the work to create it. But the part I wanted to comment on what you said is the key to all of this is to feel healthy, whole, and complete within yourself. Whether you're in a relationship or whether you're seeking a relationship, you have to feel healthy, whole, and complete within yourself. Because if you're approaching a relationship from a place of lack, there's no way you're going to have the wherewithal to connect with the person that's right for you because you're coming from a place of lack. And that also ties into what you're saying with the deserving, the playing small, feeling desperate, settling, all those things. So the 2 years that I was divorced and I didn't date, same thing, because I was like, okay, I just need to feel great on my own. Right. And then it's like, okay, well, would a relationship add something to what I already have? Because I was really happy having the freedom and peace in my life and contentment, and my kids were thriving. And so I was like, okay, in fact, part of me was like, are you nuts to consider rocking the boat? Don't be greedy. That was a real fear I had to overcome. Don't be greedy. This is really good. So don't mess it up. And the clarity was, I do think I would really enjoy sharing somebody to talk to, someone to have meals with, someone to travel with, someone to parent with, because it's nice sharing parenting. But so clear of what I wanted of, okay, what would add something to my life? And then patience, like letting go on the form it comes in, the timing. And hey, I used to do a real estate analogy because I worked in the real estate industry for years. I was like, okay, I'm looking for a unique property. Like I am a unique property because I'm clear on what I want and I'm looking for a very unique property and that's going to just take time. So I'm going to be willing to wait for just the right thing. I'm not going to settle. And it's not settling from an ego perspective of the person has to be. It's like I'm not settling for feeling anything less than what I truly want. Because I know how much love I have to give. All I'm really looking for at the end of the day is someone who's got as much love to give as I do. And that they're happy, whole, and complete within themselves, both of us, right? Because you're showing up whole, and then you create this third entity of a relationship. And as I said, whether you're in one and you want to create this, or whether you're not in one and you want to create this, the steps and the skills are the same.
Yeah. Yeah. We're not here to fix anybody. We're not
No.
I'm in my 50s. So at the end of the day, nobody's changing at this point. We're not.
Right. Like, to use a real estate analogy, you want somebody turnkey, okay? You want somebody turnkey. We're no fixer-uppers, okay? We're move in ready is what we want. That's right. And we need to be that too. Yes. So you can't be a fixer-upper and looking for a move in ready. That doesn't work. So you got to show up and be everything that you're asking for.
Yeah, and we can go deep dive into even more of this. But I mean, like talking about the mirror, who like getting clear on who's showing up in your life. That's a mirror. It's a reflection, right? So
it is
attracting people that you're like, that's not what I want. Let's time to look with inward and go, okay, how am I showing up like that? And how do I get differently so I'm attracting different? Yeah, there's so much we could do. And I love that you said we're not looking for fixer-uppers. But if you're a fixer-upper and you're attracting fixer-uppers, then that's where you get to step into, I get to show up whole and complete. And I may need to make that happen for me.
That's right.
Or I'm ready to bring in somebody else. So yeah, this is so good. Because we're not looking for any stray animals that we need to take care of. Like, no, we get yeah. I love this. So Jenny, tell the ladies listening and if you're listening too, reach out.
Right.
How they can connect with you, where they can reach out to you and learn more about what you're up to and how to work with you.
Absolutely. I offer individual coaching sessions. I do group work, seminars, also do online courses, which I have one coming out soon on relationships, because that's an area that I'm really focused on right now. So my website, realizationcoaching.com. I'm on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook. So please join me anywhere and everywhere. And also, this is something that I feel like it warrants discussion. Send me an email, reach out, send me a DM, because this is something that I could talk about 24 hours a day, because I feel like so many people are settling, whether it's in a relationship or not in a relationship, they're settling for less love and less joy and less passion and connection than they deserve. And so the passion for me comes from someone who's been on both ends of the spectrum. This is so worth fighting for. And when I say fighting for, I don't mean that energy we were talking about before with the controlling and the pushing. Fighting for in the sense of, one, as I said, get really clear and tell yourself the truth about what you want. Don't be afraid of your current circumstances. If you're in a relationship and it feels like it's a dead end, but you don't want to get divorced because you're happy with your lifestyle, there's so much room to make that connection more fulfilling. There really is. Okay. So it's worth making it a priority. What I see, because I tend to work with high achievers. And so these people, they show up on such a level in all these aspects of their life. They're killing it in their careers. They're doing the bucket list, right? They're providing for their future and creating this amazing lifestyle. And all those things get done. And then their personal relationship, it just doesn't have the same degree of priority. Skill building, emotional intelligence. So what I see with the high achievers is we have a bandwidth issue. There's just not enough time for them to really spend time connecting. And the time they do have together or get together, they don't know how to drop into deep connection and vulnerability. Because like you said, you're in your masculine energy, you're in your get shit done mode, you're killing it, tunnel vision. How do you go from that energy to intimacy and vulnerability?
Yeah.
It's simple, but it's not easy. It takes a conscious intention and effort. And so what we work on is, okay, so if you get an hour or 30 minutes, how do you put all that aside and really tune into each other and connect? And so I see a huge need for that right now. It's a big void in people's lives. And I promise you, no matter how much success you have, and success is wonderful. I like success, but without that deep connection and intimacy, it starts to feel empty and lonely. And so that's a bummer. So why not have it all? Why not have all the wonderful success with the fulfillment, the joy, the passion, the connection, the friendship? Have it all. And so that's the goal.
Yeah. And keep looking forward and dream and think big. Go big. Once you come up with your vision of what you want, challenge yourself to make it even bigger before you
Yes,
hone in on that, because I think we just have a tendency to automatically think smaller. And so if you do that times five, do it 5 times, think about bigger 5 times and then 10 times, and like really create what you want to create, because the world wants to conspire with you. But you've got to
agreed.
know what you want in order for it to do that. And there's other things that you said that I just, there's so much more I want to talk about, but I don't want to, I also have to be respectful of your time. I might have to have that. But Jenny, so you shared where we can find you. We're going to have all of Jenny's contact information in the show notes. So if you're driving or you can't check her out right now, just come back to the show notes and we'll have more of her information, as well as all of her contact information as well. If you're listening to us or watching us on YouTube, thank you for being here. We'd love for you to hit that subscribe button, because that allows us to allow you or notify you when we have more amazing guests like Jenny on the podcast. And if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, any of the other ones, and you can leave a review, we would love it. It helps us get Jenny and all of our guests out to more people, so we can help more women be empowered to be seen and heard. And when you're finding that relationship, whether it's with yourself or with someone else that you want to create, you're Jenny said, when you find that person and you don't attach to how it looks like or how it's going to show up or when it's going to show up or what they look like or checking all those boxes, you're going to find that person that allows you to rise up and allows you to be seen and heard and shine bright, because they do see you, they do hear you. And you get to have all of that and everything you want. Like Jenny said, don't settle. And settling can feel like, oh, we're putting someone else down. No, it just gets to be in alignment. And
Right.
you're settling, quote unquote, for someone, then we're actually holding them back from being aligned with what there is right for their future as well. So think about that at any time in your life. If you're wanting to make a decision for you and you're feeling bad that you're hurting someone else, you're helping, because you're able to set them free, whether it's a client, whether it's a relationship, a personal relationship, whether it's anything in your life. You're sticking to your boundaries. You're showing the world that you are making a stand for what it is you want to create and what you want, and you're allowing that person or those people to find that with themselves. And sometimes that happens. We need to release clients as well in certain
Mm-hmm.
instances. Okay, so Jenny, 2 questions real quick. Is there a fun fact about you that we wouldn't know from seeing you on social media or checking out your website, like a behind the scenes fact about Jenny?
Yes, a fun fact about me is that I have a small obsession with seasonal decor. So, um, especially Christmas, I'm in absolutely
We're like solstice.
insane. Oh my God, my kids, my family, they're just like, it's out of control. There's a 12-step for seasonal decor, and also love plants. So 12-step for seasonal decor and probably orchid purchasing. I definitely need to go to both of those. So that's a fun fact that you don't see on social media, that the multitude of Christmas trees and the extremes I go to with. And if I don't do it, it's funny when you're like that, you don't know if anybody really appreciates it because you're just doing it for your own entertainment, right? But then if I slack off, they're like, when are we putting out Easter? What's going on? And so I do think there is hopefully a benefit beyond just my own entertainment, but it's okay if there isn't.
Yeah, they love it, because my kids are the same way. Like every year we'll walk in a store, my daughter's like, Mom, you're not buying any Christmas stuff. We have a whole
Right. Say
you're not spending it. I'm like, it's just so cool. No,
it is.
no. She's
I
my
know.
she's my check-in. She's like, no. So I love that, because I love Christmas too. We used to do 6 zones of lights and music. We still do, but I
Mhm.
made it smaller because I can't, it's
It's
just
hard. It's a lot of work, right?
a lot of work. Okay, so my last question for you: if you could have lunch with anyone, whether they're alive or deceased, who would it be and why?
That's a great question. Gosh, I mean, there's the first thing I think is, so personally, my religious beliefs. So Jesus is for the first thing that comes to mind, just because I just would love to have all the answers.
Yeah.
Okay. I would love I guess for my belief system, the answers, right? Of everything, how it all works. What can I understand more? All of that. That's not the answer I was expecting to say, but it is, I think all of us that do this kind of work, we're always seeking to try to understand and also to make sense of the why, because so especially right now, like current, there's so many things happening that are scary to people and upsetting, and so many things, chaos and things are happening that are outside of our control. And that part that always just wants to know why, like not why from the perspective of why me or why this or why now, because I've learned through several character building times in my life that there is a bigger purpose. But I would just love to know the more global why. Why do painful things happen? Why do things happen that I can't understand? And how can we all come together to navigate life in a better way? You know what I mean? To where we can all be here to support each other instead of the fear making us divisive and suspicious of each other. Wouldn't it be amazing if we can just all come together and kind of ride those rapids together? Does that make sense? Okay.
So, Jenny, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate this time with you. It's been such a joy, such a pleasure. I know I've gained a lot of insight into what you've shared. We could have another 2 hours worth of conversation. So, thank you. I just want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for walking this journey that you've taken. So, and now that you're on the other side of it, I know we're all continuously growing, but I love that you've taken what you've been through and now you're helping others navigate so they don't have to work as hard to find what you had. And like you said, it doesn't have to be hard. People can say that all the
No,
time. Oh, marriage is hard work. There's a difference between,
there, yes.
they like fruit, I don't like fruit, or other deeper things. And I appreciate that you shared that, because I think a lot of women out there men too, need to hear that. Sometimes we can want to stick it out for the children or for certain reasons. And I'm all for staying together. I'm all for,
Right. Me too. Yeah.
also for all for everyone gets to find their happy. So thank you for bringing the happy to our show today and showing us how we can get there. I really appreciate you. And anything last minute words that you want to share that I didn't get to ask you or we didn't talk about?
Just what you shared a moment ago, because I think it was so powerful, which is I was one of those people that thought together was better than not together at any cost. I really believe that. I did not want to be a divorced person. I honestly, to be honest, I had judgment about people that were divorced in the past. I thought they threw away their marriages. And boy, was I wrong. So wrong about that, because it actually takes an enormous amount of courage to get divorced. It's hard and it's scary and it's sad. And sometimes that's the right thing. And I think that's another thing for people, whether you're going through a career transition, relationship transition, whatever it is. Sometimes the hard, painful, scary thing is the right thing, and it's the right thing for all concerned. And so I can look back wholeheartedly now and say, as hard as I fought to never have to go through a divorce and not have my children go through a divorce, I do think all of us are better off. I'm not saying it wasn't painful, and because it was, and it will probably affect all of us to a degree the rest of our lives, but it really was in the highest and best good of all concerned, because all of our lives have opened up in a way. We have all these new members of our family on my side and their father's side that are a positive contribution to our life. And so sometimes the hard thing is the right thing. And sometimes the worst thing you could ever think could happen to you can bring people and things and opportunities into your life that you could have never imagined. And so I think it's really a message of hope that whatever's happening in your life right now, and especially if it's something that you were afraid of or that you never wanted to experience, trust that it is happening for your benefit. And it's not going to feel like that for a long time, but you'll be able to look back and think, thank God that happened. I can't imagine my life if it didn't happen. There's always hope on the other side. And thank you so much for your time. And thank you for what you do. This podcast is amazing and it's so inspiring. And I do believe everybody should give themselves opportunity to be seen, heard, and empowered, because that benefits all concerned.
Absolutely. You all have a gift in the world to share. And so, yes, we want to encourage you to shine your light. Thank you again, Jenny, for being here.
My pleasure.
Thank you for listening to Jenny and I today. We're grateful for you and your time. And we will see you on the next episode of the Be She podcast. In the meantime, be empowered to be seen and heard.